Today, I'm going to go ahead and try different wipe-on polys to see which one I like so that I can finish all the rest of my cabinets with that particular poly. I may even end up using a brush on. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to do a little experimenting. I'll tell you why. I have my cabinets all done, and I actually put a coat of Danish oil on everything, Danish oil natural. And I was going to do it all in Danish oil, but I'm not so sure that that's the best way to go. My coffee table holds up pretty good, but I think these would get more abuse. So I wanted to put on some polyurethane on it. And I have a couple of nightstands that I've used wipe-on poly, and it's held up pretty good. So wipe-on poly is, fairly easy to put on, as you can see by the one video that I've already done on it. But the problem that I'm having is that I really like this wipe-on poly by Minwax. Now this is the one that is not water cleanup, and it's not available in California where I live. So when this became illegal, I bought as many as I could, but I'm actually down to my last quart of this. And so obviously not enough to do a whole bunch of cabinets. I mean, I got a pantry right there. These are all the pantry shelves, the adjustable shelves that go in the pantry. So I found online, this wipe-on poly by Waco, which is funny because it's not a water base either, but you can buy this one in California. So I got this one. This is satin also, and that's what I like using, is the satin on this one. And then I also got a gloss, because I thought, well, I'll try the gloss and see how that looks. Maybe I like it, maybe I won't. But also, I was at the Lowe's, my Lowe's store, and I saw this wipe-on poly, which is the water-based one. And I've never used the water-based one. The oil-based ones give it a little bit of an orange color to a warmer color, I should say. And supposedly the wipe-on does not. Of course, the Danish oil that I've already put on is an oil, and so it's already given it a warm look to begin with. But this should go on crystal clear. So I'm going to try this one also. Now, all of these wipe-ons are going to require 3 coats, and so that is time consuming, especially with all the cabinets I have to do. But I still would like to try it, and I'm going to use these paper cloths that I purchased at Lowe's. They're painter cloths, and they're supposed to be just like fiber cloths. And seeing as how I throw so much of this away, I really hate, throwing a lot of rags away when I get done with them, because it's hard to clean them. Now with the water base, probably would be able to save the rags. Now in addition, while I was there at Lowe's, I noticed that they have the 1-coat polyurethane, and this supposedly gives you 3 coats in one. So this also water-based, a water-based cleanup. So this will be interesting to see how this works. And it's supposed to be fast drying. So I generally don't use the brush on stuff, because back quite some time ago when I used to use this, I'd get a lot of dust and stuff would settle on these things before this had a chance to dry. So I'm gonna try it again. It says that it dries relatively fast. So we'll see how well that works. Now I even got a synthetic brush for it to try it out and see what happens. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use 5 different shelves and go ahead and paint them all up with these different ones. I'm gonna put 3 coats of the wipe-ons, 1 coat of this, and compare them and see how they look. Again, I want to put the wipe-on poly mainly just because of the durability. And I do like the satin, so this is a clear satin. As a matter of fact, you could get this in an oil base also, which is still funny. But it's a warmer satin. It's called a warmer satin because it is an oil base. So this clear. And the nice thing about the water cleanup is that it's non-toxic. It doesn't, it's non-flammable. It's a little easy to use, and I'm hoping it doesn't smell as bad. But I'll let you know as I go through. So let me get to painting up 1 each of these, and go watch me throw some clips in there of me painting, and then we'll come back and I'll talk about the finish and what I think, and try my best to show you the finish as much as the camera will pick up on it. So let's try it out. Okay, so I finished putting the coats on my test pieces here of the different wipe on and brush on poly. Now, I have a lot of cabinets that I gotta put a finish on. So keep in mind that this is just for me trying to decide which one I want to use, you know, as far as the finish goes. Now, all of my cabinets have been first coated with a good coating of Danish oil natural, and that's going to soak into the wood and give it a nice finish there, and you know, fill in all the pores and everything on that. Then after that, I'm putting the clear finish on it. All these are going to be satin. I did do one gloss, which I'll talk about in a minute, but satin is what I'm looking for. Now, the wipe-ons, all the wipe-ons I put on with these paper towels here that I talked about before. And in between each coat, I roughed up a little bit with this particular grit here, which I think is a medium grit, or 600, I think it is, for that. And then the final coat, after the final coat, I rubbed it down to a polish with this particular one, which is a real fine abrasive. Well, it's almost doesn't even feel abrasive at all. And I don't know exactly, I'll try and maybe put it down there if I can find the name of it. But these are the 3M products that you can get at Lowe's and Home Depot and that. The brush on, I used this brush here, which I bought for the brush on poly. And I'll talk about that in a minute. So I had 3 of them that I use that are the oil base. And these require paint thinner to clean up, and so require gloves and all that. Now, the bad thing about these is that they have a smell to them, and we have behind the camera is both our washer and dryer out here in the garage / shop. So I have to always coordinate when I'm doing my finish between when we're doing the wash, because if we do the wash while I do the finish, we have that picks up that smell in the wash, which I don't want. So the first thing that impressed me about the water base is that it doesn't have that smell. Doesn't, you know, it has a little bit of a smell, but it's nothing bad. So there was a big plus there. Now, this is the one that I always use, the Wipe On Poly from Minwax, and this is the clear satin. And I really like this stuff. I've used this for years, and this is my last quart here. And this is the one that's not available in California anymore. These two I found online, and they are available, and I did a gloss, and which one is it? This one's the gloss. Switch them around. A gloss and a satin. This is the gloss, this is the satin. So just to make sure, yep, that's definitely the gloss. Okay, so these ones I'm able to get, and so I did these. So again, 3 coats on each. Now, of the 3, when I rub my hand after everything's all said and done, the best, smoothest finish is with the gloss one. Now, I like the way the gloss comes out, but you do have to be, when I'm looking at the light reflecting here, I can see little waves in there. So you do have to be careful how you put that on. You have to really get it smooth on there with the cloth. The satin, you don't have to be as careful, but this stuff is much thicker than this. And so you do have to get a nice even coat. If you don't, you get some buildup. I got a little bit of buildup right here that I can see, but it's nothing big. And this, of course, could be sanded down and just, you know, refinished. But all 3 of them provided a good finish on here. This one is really glossy, so it's not what I'm going to use. But between these 2, these are about comparable. I would say that the Minwax is a little rougher. And especially on the plywood on the bottom, the bad side of the plywood, or the not so great side of the plywood, I should say, it's a little bit rougher after 3 coats. So again, it takes 3 coats. It does take some time to do this, and I do have a lot of cabinets to do, so that's the only downside to this. And I don't have a spray booth, so I want to do something where I'm not worried about the dust so much, because it's not an absolute clean environment in here. So that's these 3. So let me move these out of the way here. By the way, somebody asked me what these are. These are Rockler bench cookies with the paint little what is it, a cone. They call it bench cookie cones that they snap on top. Now I like these because these lock down pretty good, but I do need a lot of them, so I ended up buying some cheaper plastic ones, which actually are working pretty good. And we'll talk about this one here in a minute. So these are the water-based ones, which I've never used before. And I have to say, I probably should have used them a long time ago, because I can tell you this, they're easier to apply than the oil. They don't have the smell. Very easy water cleanup. You don't have to worry about when you throw away the soaked cloth about it catching fire or with it being flammable. I don't see any downside to this, to be honest with you. Now, the only thing I can think of is, and I don't know this, is the longevity of it. Maybe, you know, it doesn't last as long as the oil-based ones. But as far as application, smell, and cleanup, these are way better than those. And I've been using this one for years and swear by it. But I finally decided that I needed to try this out. Now, the nice thing about this one too is it has a nice little pour spout, which makes it real easy just to pour some on and then start, you know, wiping it on. And so that makes it nice and easy. Now, granted, I'm gonna need a lot more than this, but it does still take a lot of time. So that's where this one came in, the brushing, because for the cabinets, I wanted to, you know, be able to brush some on, and I thought that would be nice to be able to use on the cabinets. Now, of the two, when I rub my hands across here like this, the brush feels a little smoother than the wipe-on on these. So it does seem like it comes out a little bit smoother. Now, this one here has 2 coats on it. This one has 1 because it says it's 3 coats in 1. So I want to do 1. Now, I would say the 1 is probably very close to this one, but the wipe-on poly does have a little bit more sheen to it than the brush-on. The brush is a little bit flatter. It's a clear satin, and this is a clear satin, so they're the same. But this does have more of a sheen. When I look at it with the light, I can see more coming off of this one. The 3 coats here are about equal to 2 coats of this. And 1 coat would probably be enough to you know, have a finish on there, but I'm going to put another one on to have 2 coats on all of it. And I think 2 coats of the brush on will give you a nice finish on it. Now, the other thing too is on the bottom side of the brush on one, that still feels good. This one's still a little rough because it only has 1 coat on it. And this one here is a little bit rough. Now, the water base does bring up the wood a little bit. So when you put the first coat on, you do have to sand it a little bit more. And again, I use just this here, and I just sanded it a little bit longer on the first coat. But the second and third coats, no problem. It comes pretty good, and it smooths it out really nice. So once you get that first coat on with the water, it does come up a little bit. Now, I would imagine that if I didn't have the oil, if I didn't have the Danish oil on here already, that would be quite a bit different. We'd probably get more of the grain or more of the fibers coming up, and it'd be a little rougher and require a little bit more sanding. But because I already put the oil on here to soak into the wood and to, you know, harden inside the wood and give it a nice firm base, I think that comes out really good. So what am I going to do? Well, I think I'm going to try the brush on for the doors, for one door. And I'm actually going to pull a door, I think, off of my router cabinet, which is right over there. No, it's over there. I'm going to pull one of those doors off because all of my messed up doors went on that one. So I'm going to pull one of those doors off and paint that with the brush on and do one with the wipe on and see how it looks on just solid wood. Because when I look at both this wood here, these are the solid pieces of wood, they both look good, they both feel good. Even the single one feels real good too. So without the plywood, I want to try that. Now, all of my cabinets themselves, I'm going to use the brush on. That's going to be the easiest way for me to go. But on the doors and the drawers, I might end up using the wipe on. And I am going to use the water-based one that's available here in California. It really is easier to apply. So I think comparable, and they're cheaper. It's all cheaper too than that. So I think that the water base is perfectly fine if you wanted to use that. In my opinion, this is my opinion, this is what I'm going to use on all of my cabinets. And I don't think you can go wrong with this water base wipe-on poly from Minwax. Now, this is the only brand I used. I didn't look for any other brands. These were the ones that are available at my local big box, store. So that's the ones that I'm using, and because it's easy access. But Minwax is a good company, and I think this is a great little finish. So that's my opinion as to what I'm going to do with my cabinets, the finish that I'm going to use. I've converted over from my old Faithful that I purchased a whole bunch of these when they were going out. I'll still use this like on my wood turnings and stuff. I will use this gloss absolutely on some of my bowls. I think this will add a nice gloss, nice look to the bowls, give it a real deep, rich, I think about 6 or 7 coats of this on there would be good. And nice about turnings that you can do it on lathes so you can get it done pretty quick. But this is still great stuff. The Waco stuff, I would say, is as good, if not slightly better than the Minwax, this one here. I think it's a little bit better. So I'm not worried about using this up because I know that I have the other brand, the Waco brand, available to me. So I don't know if that helped you out. I do appreciate you staying around this long to listen to me ramble on about finishes. But if you have any questions, please do leave them below. One of the questions I did answer with all of this is that I did have on my wipe-on poly video, I had a number of people ask if you could put that on over Danish oil, and the answer to that is yes, you can, because you can put the water base, you can put the oil base, any of that can go on over the Danish oil. So that question is answered. But leave any questions you have below. I really like hearing from you guys. Please do like and subscribe. It does help out the channel, and hopefully you'll be around when I start doing some more work on my cabinets. As I work through them, I will do some videos and I'll show you some installation videos and stuff. But that's my goal for this summer, is to get everything installed in the kitchen. So we'll do, we'll show you a remodel video here and there in between other stuff if I have time. Thanks for watching.